we were live on that one, so.
Lie.
And you say, Ken, will be held against you.
I listen. I don't think I've ever got caught up saying anything crazy off camera. I don't say anything crazy. That's not going to be
You're a little high tech here, but I'm figuring it out.
I see. Now, I mean, if you could just fade it on time and everything, get consistent with that.
What's the password again?
To what?
The Wi-Fi.
So now we get everybody online. Everybody be driving past my house sounding on. Your phone don't say it?
I just updated it.
Really? And they removed it?
I did. I was on the last time I was here.
There you go. Actually, it's kind of crazy. I don't feel like I'm connected either. I just thought about that when I was trying to get on mine.
Well, we changed it.
iPhone update. You changed what?
How did you change the password? No,
Was
because
this the second time we changed it?
no, we got
All right, that makes sense. We having this conversation on
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I got a new router because I had to change it. I
sense.
didn't give me a choice.
See, now that's why we
got a new
didn't have
router.
the connection. That explains. That makes sense.
No, I had to. Well, they knew I had to get a new router so the signal would extend, so we couldn't keep messing up down here.
Okay. So we got a bigger signal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's supposed to be, and I got an extension over there on the other side of the room. So I'm just saying, it was done for
I guess that means all said and done. We can get into the next topic. This has been on for quite some time.
Yeah, wait for Devin. Devin's like,
Is
he's
this
making the cake over there.
You start. He'll be able to join us. It was. He'll be able to join us. We got listeners here that are dialed in, tuned in, ready to hear us get started tonight. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready. And let's go. Huh? I heard your fade was on. Fade was on. So welcome to an episode here of Above Average Black Men. First up, Dad, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, as he said, welcome to the episode of Above Average Black Men. Had to make sure Podbean catches up.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit of delay.
Myself, Chris Pender Sr.
I'm Chris Jr., as always, here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community.
Dev Pender, just here to say follow, subscribe, share, comment, interact with us. It's very loud.
I feel like for a second, I was like, man, did you forget? You did that big pause before he's like,
We're gonna make sure everybody can hear us, man. And you speak into the mic. These mics pick up pretty far away. You lean forward. So.
And I feel like the past couple of times we've been mixing up kind of our location here too. So I think that may have something to do with it. But
gotta keep them guessing.
I know it feels good to be back.
In any good relationship, you gotta keep them guessing.
Well,
can't let them get used to it. Take you for granted.
Man, that might be a good segue. Maybe I don't know. Talking about relationships a little bit here tonight. Right?
Well, what we're going to talk about is the way I phrased it was: does it matter what he does? Does
it matter what he does?
Does relationships come into play when you consider long-term relationships? Does occupation, come into play when you consider long-term relationships? It doesn't matter.
I think that's a question that's been up for debate.
Well,
a lot as of late, yeah.
Yeah, I took a search. Me, I'm already.
I'm interested to know what they had to say, because I'm actually interested to know what you had to say, because I personally think it does, just based off of how society is moving. I know that.
And I told you were gonna say that.
I know that it does.
Now, are we talking about more so from a man's perspective for a woman? What she doing?
Either way,
I told everybody exactly.
I know what
you want to say. I knew what your stance was gonna be before I ever got here. They know I do a podcast, so these are some of the same people I asked about their marriage. What we did, I took the survey, how you feel about marriage, women. Mm-hmm. So I asked them. They were like, naturally they said what for, and then I explained to them again, and they were like, okay. So the first question I asked them was, I said, do you think in this day and age that what a man does for a living impacts relationship? So they kind of pondered, they thought about it, and they said, yeah. So, okay, so my next question was, okay, is that a factor when you consider a long-term relationship? And they said, yeah, but I got some interesting answers. I got some interesting answers. One person said, and they were honest. They said, hey, because financially, I want to have kids. If I have kids, can this relationship sustain us while I'm out on maternity leave? That was your question. It was one of the things somebody else said, which I thought was interesting. They said, well, it's not just the occupations, are they on my level?
What?
Because I was just saying,
Sorry.
because I got, no, but I got what she was
I
saying,
didn't
because,
know
can we have certain conversations?
Okay.
Are we thinking the same thing?
Yeah.
Like, this person is a female entrepreneur. She works in business, she said, it's one thing if he works at Burger King and all he wants to do is do burgers the rest of his life.
If you want to be the best
But,
burger flipper ever.
That's the same thing I said. That's the same thing I
never
said.
been a guy to make
LeBron
better
James of
burgers.
Yeah,
So,
nothing wrong with
but it was interesting. It was,
Burger Brian.
I didn't agree with them, but it was interesting to hear. I didn't expect or anticipate, or those answers. They were different answers for me. I thought I was going to get something different from them.
Did you? Why? I mean, I'm not shocked.
Well, I thought somebody was going to say definitely because like from a gold digger's point of view. I thought somebody was going to say because I don't want to be dating trash man. Most of the answers were I didn't agree with them, but they were thought out. They were answers that I don't agree, but I get your point of view.
Yeah, and I mean I feel like the root of a lot of the conversation, honestly, is this idea of kind of like just having the same level. Some people, it's like, I feel like it's rooted in some just like it's some truth. You know what I mean? Like they may be at this level, but then there's people who are like requiring saying things like, listen, you a nail tech, like Burger King might be the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? No disrespect.
But I shared that. I said, it's funny because I know there's some guys who think like that, but the average guy, if they meet a waitress and she's fine, I don't think they're not going to date her or think it because I don't think they will disqualify.
No, but that's the opposite side of it. I don't think.
I know, but I'm just saying though.
We have different requirements when it comes to that.
Right, I agree. That was my point. Like my whole thing was, okay, what are you missing when you make that stance? Because when you meet somebody, that may be where they are, but you may be the one to inspire them to do better. You may be the ones, they may need a cheerleader. They may need somebody to kind of, some people just need to kind of.
People don't want that. They're not trying to build that.
I feel like
I want it now.
I feel like nowadays it's more so like could have been back then too, of like a status thing. It sounds a lot better to say, "Oh, I'm married to a lawyer," or dating a lawyer or a doctor.
Well, with the status,
opposed to a trash man.
When I was growing up,
teacher.
But when I was growing up, the status,
plumber.
When I was
said that a lot.
When I was growing up, the status was a little different. And, you're talking about dating. It was more who was cool and who wasn't cool. It was. It really, I think, a lot of people weren't thinking.
So same thing.
Well, it is a little different because, a lot of people they weren't thinking about financially because some cool dudes weren't going to be able to take care of finances. They was done with a bag of rocks. He just was cool. So I think that was similar, but I think it's a little different now because you're talking about, like I said this, you could get a lawyer could treat you like dirt. He could be rich, but treat you like dirt. Just because you have money doesn't mean, so you got to find a balance because would you rather have somebody who had what you call, one lady said it became a joke, a low-level occupation, which I said never say that to a dude.
Low-level occupation. But you see, that's actually kind of funny.
Well, they didn't mean it like that because I'm going to tell this story. But I'm going to tell
this conversation, though. Like, did you? What?
That's what I said. I said,
low-level occupation.
I said, you don't necessarily want to say that to a
and like, what does that even mean?
Well,
like,
she meant blue collar versus white collar. She felt like,
and that's kind of crazy too.
She felt
that's
like
not even kind of.
I'm just gonna tell you her side of the story.
Insane.
She just felt, and she gave an example. Her current fiance. So hopefully they're not watching this. Who they're going to be married soon.
That's me.
He was a tech. He was like an AV tech at a law firm when they first met, and he was in a friend zone because he hadn't graduated from college, didn't want to go to college. He was kind of content where he was. He didn't have great aspirations, and she comes from a kind of well-to-do background. So it was interesting. Because
I'm like, hey.
But it was interesting because she went on to explain. I didn't say I agree with it, but she went on to explain that she wanted somebody because she was one who made the comment about, well, if I go out on maternity leave, are they going to be able to hold the fort down? What's going to happen to our standard of living? So then she said, well, when I first met him in the friend zone because he was at a low level. So, but she meant white collar versus blue collar
It's
because
still like that's like you.
there's
There's
some people
some
like that.
there's blue collar jobs out there that people do pretty well at, and I feel like well off.
I agree with this. I think Devin said it, but image of those jobs still say something. Like trashmen make a
Plumber.
decent amount of money,
Yeah, they do.
you know, but people don't, you know, and you know, or I told them the story about the transportation. So right away they said, "Oh, he a bus driver." Remember I said the guy.
Right.
So I said, "See, but that's how women think because he could have worked for
Transportation.
Amtrak. He could have worked. I'm in transportation. He could have been Amtrak. He could have been anything.
Right. Yeah.
You know, he could have been the CEO except or something. But it's just, but it's funny how they think. But I do think, you know, so I think it's a balance. I do, and I say it because, you heard the story when I met your mom. All I had was an idea and some dreams. We didn't have a whole lot, you know. It was her believing in me, not always agreeing with what I said because I saw things she didn't see, but at least willing to believe in what I was trying to accomplish. And I mean, that's what's missing. When you just look at somebody and says, "Well, I'm," because dude right there is not doing anything. You know, you don't know what's inside. I mean, you know, and sometimes some people will later. It's like when I go to my class reunion, it's not one class reunion. I've been to 3. There's not one class reunion that I've not gone to, the 30 year, the 40 year, the 45 year, whatever it was, when somebody didn't come to me and say, you know, "Hey, I always liked you, not liked you in high school." No, you didn't. Because I wasn't the same person in high school. So I say sometimes, you know, you invested in somebody, maybe that person.
And I was just about to say, I think maybe the big difference here, or I would say the highlight of that story is like, you probably came into that with goals and aspirations and showing that you were ambitious. I think that's a very
Him and the
key
relationship.
Yes, very key thing. Like you, or like at least like you came in, you had to like in order.
I didn't want to be broke.
All right, so you had to come in there with something.
I didn't have like a solid game plan. I just
Right.
knew I wanted more than I had, and you know, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I knew that.
You knew you was gonna get it. Like you probably what people feel and
Yeah.
they pick up on that, and like I think that's an energy that generally works for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that again.
Okay.
Even you saying that you wanted the money, like that shows that like yo, you had some type of ambition and drive. You wanted better.
But I know your mom, and she would deny this, but I know she didn't see exactly what I was talking about because, you know, even our families come from different backgrounds. Because my father was an entrepreneur. My father was a police officer, a hustler. You know, her mom and dad believe you get the job, you work the job.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, you do it. So I know she didn't exactly buy into what I was selling at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, I just think I was charming and debonair, and that kind of just, you know. No, I'm only joking. No, but I think, but I think you sell people short. I think you sell people short when you don't take a chance, or at least take a good look and date them at least to see what they're about, because that person could be the next Bill Gates. You know, and yo, Derek, what's going on? I think guys are making money don't care about how much their mate makes as long as they're doing something productive. I never cared. See, he never cared.
Yeah, I mean, but that's coming from us. Yeah, but from the opposite perspective, they do.
No, there's some guys who do care because there's some guys when they go somewhere they want to be able to introduce their wife as, you know, hey, so and so. You know, some guys like, yo, I'm a lawyer. I don't want to go somewhere and say, oh, my wife is, you know, a school teacher, because everybody don't think a school teacher is, you know.
I'm like, what? I'd be proud
of
people
like that.
Actually, yeah, nowadays
there's people
that
like
makes
that.
sense too, because you know,
titles, yeah.
There's women that like.
She don't want to say like what is like
that kind of
you go out with an attorney, big time attorney, big time attorney, and you let me see, what could you be? You could be a custodian, you know, or engineer, whatever you want to call it. You know, some people would be embarrassed to say, hey, because somebody say, oh, that's what does he do? Is he a lawyer? No, he's a janitor custodian.
No, I'm a laboratory custodian.
You clean bathrooms. Come on.
Sanitation expert.
I'm not knocking the vocation, but that matters to people.
Yeah.
That matters to people.
Very true.
Because in the first, I don't know why I'm cut you off. Even as when I go out with your mom, it's not somewhere in the first couple minutes of the conversation. Somewhere, when they know me, what does she do? I don't know why it's important. Because you know. But that's what they'll ask.
I mean, do they think that it needs to complement what you do, like in some type of way? Like, and again, now it's even more interesting question. Like, do you think it is any type of kind of, I guess, bias from people, and they look at you like, hey, you do this, you're supposed to do this.
Hey, what do you say? Some guys care because they need help.
True, that's true.
I mean, if you
no women care, dude, they need help
some
too.
Girl, you pick up trash, you gonna look at you like you're dirty. You could just get on.
I mean,
that kind of
to me,
you know?
See, that's define compliment, because there's different ways you can compliment somebody. You can compliment somebody and be in their corner, yeah, rah, 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 whatever you do. or you.
And what they do doesn't really have anything.
Yeah, but you could compliment somebody by asking tough questions. You know, I know I could never go to your mom with some harebrained scream. Like I'm gonna quit my job tomorrow and sell glow in the dark hairbrushes because people doesn't. I know I could never
Look
do
at her
that.
occupation.
So that's how. But that's how she compliments because she will challenge me. Now I can't do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's where she would compliment. We don't have the same taste. We got different ideas. I'm an entrepreneur. She's like, yo, I'm gonna work until I'm 67, get all my Social Security. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to end this thing quickly.
Yeah.
So you can compliment in different ways, but where I think it becomes an issue is when we get stuck on the fact that, for instance, people talk about money, and people say money, and I find myself in going
Because it matters.
money. Yeah, but see, if you're in a relationship and money is breaking you up, money's not your problem. Your problem is the relationship. Because if you truly love somebody,
I think people don't have those conversations going into.
I agree, but if I'm in a relationship and like your mom and I, we early in our relationship, we hit dry spots. Mm-hmm. We did. You know, I didn't wake up and come up with an idea and took off when I was building a cleaning company. It took a while to get to that point where it was successful. Even my business now, it took a while to get there. So, you know, in y'all terms, it was ride or die.
Yeah.
There were times when things were lean. So I'm saying if you breaking up over money, you may want to be examining your relationship. It's different if somebody just blowing money but if sometimes you hit dry spots and that's the reason why your relationship is struggling, you got a problem. And that's what I think that goes with, because what happens when you lose your job? Does that mean you no longer fit for the marriage? No. You get laid off.
I mean, for some people, yeah. But for some people, yeah.
And I'm gonna say what I said the other day. I got 2 words: gold digger. Because if it's strictly about finance for you, then you don't love. That's not love.
And I think
that's a convenience.
That's at the probably again like at the base of this conversation tonight, like asking if occupation matters, because like you said, there are going to be some rough times. There are people who have occupations where they're starting off their careers at a lower level, and they just haven't hit that place where.
Unfortunately, most of my friends fall into the category. We didn't come out of the hood.
For some people, it takes longer than others.
We didn't come out of the hood though. You know, like we didn't get born all of a sudden. We got a certain age, things just fell into place. You know, we did. You know, and it was work because I remember janitorial company. People laughed at me when I started my nonprofit. Nobody gets paid for doing that. I take it to Saturday. We sold Saturday out before the event even happened. Saturday it was sold out. It was sold out. I had like 7 people pay for lanes, and people sponsored. My man Derek sponsored people. It was sold out. But all people saw was the people at first when they got there. Well, you know, I didn't think this was a good idea because it's such a hard thing to do. You know, no, we sold out. And then everybody looked at me a little different. Then on top of being sold out, we filled the place out because people started paying at the door. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Sometimes you can see stuff that people don't see. Mm-hmm. And you judge by what you think you see.
It's so easy.
That's the problem. It's not easy.
I mean, I'm just thinking because I'm thinking about the kind of broader perspective and the conversations that's being had out here amongst our generation of people is very different.
Everything is different.
It is. I don't like. I think like that's what's like. I think sometimes we need to have conversations like this. That's probably why our generation is so lost.
I got one word. I got one word for you. Emotional. Huh? That's the problem.
Emotional.
Yeah, your generation
I think
is
it's
too emotional
and materialistic.
But that feeds to emotion because if you can't see it, taste it, touch it, and it's not directly impacting your emotions, y'all not for it. Y'all ain't feeling it. That's why so many of y'all don't believe in God. I can go down and listen to things you guys don't believe in because you can't see it, touch it, or smell it.
People don't like difficult times. They just think everything's supposed to be.
What do you do? What do you do that you never have difficult times?
That's why they think it's security and having somebody that has a particular occupation.
I don't want you. I don't want you. If you to me, then why are we together if I'm just a security blanket? You know, you might as well get somebody and go buy you a big blanket from the store somewhere. That ain't me. You might as well go get you a big blanket that you just go and ask nothing.
So what other in this security? What is it?
Security, it can be you love somebody. You want to spend your rest of your life with somebody. You can build something security together. Yeah, but if you're working with somebody, you love somebody, you committed to the person, you can work together to get stuff. It doesn't have to be he get or you get. And it's because one other question we came up with because we were laughing because somebody said, well, what's mine is mine. I said, no, that's not a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship is, when you get married, your resource stuff come together. You can keep a little side thing as long as they know about it, but your resources come together. But that's, again, how do you accomplish something if you're in a relationship and y'all both working in different directions? How is it a healthy relationship if finances is the reason why we started this relationship? Because then what happens when you lose your job? Or what happens when somebody starts getting
you don't want to be
raises
70 or 80 living in a cardboard box.
it doesn't mean, I'm pretty sure your mom didn't say, okay, we in love, but we gonna live in the cardboard box.
You don't want to be 70 or 80 living in a cardboard box. And that's why mom was
See,
like,
I mean, emotion. That's what I'm talking about. That's an emotional answer. That's an emotional answer.
I like that. That's exactly why she was willing to kind of ride out and be like, you know what, I can get on board with that. You know, but I think again it matters like what to an extent.
Oh, maybe
question. Not even the title.
Hey,
maybe
I'm
the income.
Let him go. I'm gonna get that question. That's a great question. No, but I do. Listen, nah, man. I mean, come on. I mean, you. I'm thinking. Look, if I'm gonna be with somebody, even when I met your mom, when I met your mom, it was simple, man. You know, she believes in me. You know, even if she wasn't 100% sure, I got your back. You know, if you fall, we gonna fall together. If you fail, we gonna fail together.
It's 2023.
But we gonna make it together. 2023. Yeah, that's why divorce rate is up. That's why y'all got so many relationship problems. It's 2023. 2023 don't mean you just change the rules.
People got what?
A 3-pointer in 2020 was the same thing, still 3 points.
Hey, you want to know what's crazy? At one point in time, they didn't even have a 3-point line.
That's right. But they
exactly.
I know they didn't even have a 3-point line. But the game was better than, by the way. But anyway, the game was better, by the way. No, he got 3 points the old-fashioned way. Okay. You dogged somebody, went to the basket. That's a different story. You know, no, but what I'm saying is
the game changes.
But that part should never. That's why the
game changes.
See, that's the problem.
Now people play different.
But that's the problem. That's the problem with your generation.
You gotta adjust.
But have you noticed things have gotten worse? You keep saying things have gotten worse. Less people getting married. The divorce rate is higher. There's more homes with daddy. Come on, man. It's not like so. Apparently it didn't change for the better. No, your emotions got in the way, and your emotions said, if I can't see it, touch it, and taste it, it ain't real. And so now all of a sudden with faith. Believing in somebody, having a vision, you know, having goals, working together. That's out the window now. That's gone.
Yeah, I think I believe in those things, but I'm just being a realist.
You don't have a choice. No more.
I don't have a choice, but I'm just being a realist. And when you see or you can kind of take in what's out here, not everybody's in line with that. Yeah, everybody has that.
It's two things.
I think it's a lot more corruption like that people take in.
You always bring corruption.
Corruption.
They talking about business. We talking about a relationship. Anyway, he has two questions. We talked about this earlier. One, he said, he said a statement thinks occupations matter when they get old, especially women. The women I talk to, they weren't exactly old, but I think it matters, but I think it matters for a different reason. Because when I talk to younger women, the occupation matters for status. They're not telling me, they weren't saying that I wanted to make sure the house is paid for the car. My man, I'm here to say my man is this, but who wants to say my man is this? So for them, it was status. Now, the older people were saying it's about stability, it's about, and then I hit him with the Kevin Samuels. So what you bringing to the table? See, then that whole conversation kind of shifted a little bit.
Made the house home. Stuff like that.
So, and that opened up another can of worms. And then the next question, I think this is cool because this is a good one. In that same, does it matter who's the biggest breadwinner, the man or the woman?
Ooh, does it matter?
I already know the answer, but we want to say it for the people.
You know my answer?
It depends who the woman is. Because there's some.
Listen,
I feel like there's some women that would take it.
Oh, what do you mean? Does it matter? It depends on the woman is.
Because some women are the mentality is there. Like they can still be the breadwinner, but they will still let a man lead and be in charge and do what he has to do.
I got it now. You were the type of woman, okay?
Yeah. Like,
I think I put a specific woman in mind. I was like, yo, you about to get in trouble now, but I want to know who.
Tell you about this demographic.
But there's women who, if they're in that role, they're gonna try their best or their hardest to do their best imitation of what they think a man is gonna be in that role. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think that's a general stereotype. I think that's a broad statement, man. I think that's too broad a statement.
I mean, but this I think it's a difficult conversation to have because
it's not difficult.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
Why is that difficult? Either you believe in this, you don't believe. It's yes or no.
You talking about for me personally, or
I'm talking about you personally. You're trying to beat him out of the bush and not answer the question. You're general because I know some of your friends probably think the same way.
I think it gotta again. You need to be. If it is like that, it really doesn't matter.
Now
But
we're
man,
gonna do it.
again,
Now we're gonna play political football.
No. I'm not playing political football. I'm just being like real, like just knowing that that man. It's gonna be hard for that man to not be doing something crazy, like building himself up.
I disagree. There was a time when your mom and I met, she made more money. There was a time she made more money.
And look what you did.
And
It's a bad example.
no,
Bad example.
it did encourage me, inspire me.
Right,
Get
exactly.
about it. Yeah,
Like, yo,
that's not a
this
bad
is
example. But you know what? Because our life is what's what's yours is what's mine is hers, and what's hers is ours. Now it's different. Now what's hers is hers, and what's mine is hers. So they come change, and sort of the rules change. Everything is hers. But we did. There was a time when she made more money than I did.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first found it was a little interesting at first, but bills getting paid, stuff being taken care of, it's okay. And it wasn't that she was throwing it in my face, and that's a different story. You got somebody saying, "Hey, I should have more votes because you got more." No, that wasn't that at all.
Like that.
And I like that comment right there, by the way. He said, honestly, my wife makes way more money than me. It doesn't matter, but she's a Christian and not worldly. I feel like that's a very key factor when they talk about worldliness and modern. A lot of nowadays, a lot of women will throw it in your face and be like, "Oh, well, I'll make more money than you." And what I say goes.
But see, this is the thing. You know that you find it out in the dating stage. That's not new. If that person is like that when you're courting, dating, I know y'all don't do those things anymore, but you find that
What
out.
you mean?
Because y'all don't do that. Y'all don't court anymore, man. You use the whole process. Y'all just I don't know what y'all.
What does that even mean?
But that's what I mean. You don't do it. There's a time.
Court then date.
Courting means you
Isn't
spend
the courting
time.
and
You
dating the
invest.
same thing?
You kind of do your homework, man. It's not just an emotional decision.
That's the dating.
Nowadays people, could say it's a little different. Y'all go out and y'all can date somebody and not ask any relevant questions. When I do workshops,
to anything?
and I ask
When's your birthday?
the restaurant asks you that question, are you allergic to anything? But I'm just saying, so there's a
What's your
difference. I
sign?
think even the mindset of what we're talking about, man, is I think it's different. No, we've accepted it. Yeah. We've accepted the fact that, and to me, that's just another, ism that falls in relationships, because we do get into that point where, and you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to have this status. And then when it's flipped around, it becomes a problem because now you think you're better than everybody else. You think you're too good. So I think you got to be careful because there are some good people out there who start off, if you read the original book, Think and Grow Rich,
people want to finish product though. That's not
most of the people all the people in that book, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, they all failed the first time. They didn't come out and Bill Gates didn't come out and put one computer together. No, it took time. So I think you have to be able to see the best. Now, dude, just hanging on the corner. If you're coming home from Burger King and just looking at reading comics and looking at cartoons all day long, then I get it. But there's some people out there who start off modest, and maybe need to be inspired. Maybe something need to happen in life to change it. To get them motivated to do it. I didn't always have in my mind I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I did. It was kind of in me, but it wasn't like how am I list to do. So you get spurred on. And had I married somebody else who maybe not have been willing to take the risk, I don't know. Because, when you marry and you trying to drag somebody along, that's hard. That's hard.
And again, I think that's why we kind of brought up this conversation and question tonight about, like, in a way, does occupation matter? And I still agree, like, to an extent, it
Rudy don't know the story. Did we meet at a young age? Yeah, man. She wasn't even legal to get married, man.
So
she wasn't even 21, man.
So listen,
that was 39 years ago.
That might be part of it too. She was a little bit naive.
Your mom gonna watch this, so you will be explaining that one. You will be explaining that one. She wasn't young, man. I think sometimes people have the ability to see things in you that other people don't see.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but I think again it's hard. That's why we keep trying to, like, I guess, paint this picture from our perspective. And how,
no, you want it to be hard. That's why you keep saying
it's not that I want it to be hard. It's like really like that. Like, you can ask any man or woman right now about how they feel about it, and they'll all say the same thing. And I don't think it's because the conversation isn't necessarily being had with probably people who are in successful relationships. Honestly, I think we just be out here lost, like talking to each other, just throwing out craziness. and like it just shows. Or it's not enough examples of positive.
Let me tell you, rules of engagement. When I first started dating, there were rules of engagement.
That's
I
right.
wasn't taking somebody to no 4-star restaurant in the first. No, I
But
wasn't doing
that's
that.
what
That's
like
what they
people are.
expect
They're
now,
like,
yeah.
yo,
Well, see,
you gotta
but
take me to blase. They're not
Because
trying
there's
to
people
go
out there
to.
doing it. There's other
That's part of the
potential
problem, too.
candidates out there doing it who are setting that standard.
It's
Let
something
me
wrong.
let me
It's something
tell
wrong.
you.
There's something wrong with it. You getting to know somebody, first of all, and I say this to you guys all the time, yo, don't start a habit that you can't afford to keep. Because you can't date somebody and take them to Chris Root Steakhouse and Sullivan's and all those top-notch places and spending $75 or $100 for a meal, and then when you get married, you're going to start them Burger King and McDonald's. It don't work like that. It does not
They're
work
not trying
like
to
that.
hear meet me at the crafty.
No, we
They're not trying
Let's
to
go
hear
get this
But
4 for
But see, but this
Please.
goes back to what I said though. That kind of, to me, if it came down to what somebody, their occupation, I got a problem with that because that might be the person that'll treat you like a queen or treat you like a king. But you get somebody that's making money different, and they treat you like crap.
I think
like,
what's funny is
throwing
like,
in your face. I
if
make more money.
you
than
talk
you
about getting married for love. I think that's
That's
not
why you
what a lot
get
of people-
married.
not a
That's
lot
why
of
you
people-
get. Why would
Not
you
a
get
lot of
married?
people are thinking about that now. I feel like they want to be taken care of. Like, that's really like the mindset.
Okay.
I feel
If
like.
you're out here and you're watching this, let me
I
say
said
this.
that security.
If you're getting married because you want to be
And
taken
not
care
all
of,
women. I'm not saying.
I didn't say all.
that.
I'm just saying if you're watching this and you're getting married for security or for what did
That's
you
my
say it
point
was?
right there.
If you give security, what else did you say?
No, it's just security, pretty much.
So
Sum
you
it
know
all
what?
up.
I got one word for you. Idiot.
What?
You're an idiot.
What are
That's
you
why
talking
if you get married just for security or just for that, this ain't gonna work. Because security, when y'all not getting along, security ain't gonna get you through it. When y'all start growing, because it's like I say this all the time when I counsel people and they tell me the 7-year itch. The 7-year itch is not necessarily about somebody wanting somebody else. It's usually in that time frame people start to grow differently. And that's the time when you got to work with your marriage because maybe somebody's matured at a faster rate. When I met your mom, I was like, we were going out, hanging out, partying, doing these things. It was before I got serious about church, guys. So don't judge me. We were doing a lot of different things.
Mhm.
And then, okay, all of a sudden my light bulb came on. I started looking at the people I was hanging around with. I don't want that to be the rest of my life. So we started having those conversations. So our relationship shifted a little bit when I decided to go back to school and get my master's. It was like, well, what you going back to school and get your master's? You're making decent money. So that's the areas where if you just in it for security, you're not gonna make it through those times.
Maybe I'm saying that, especially maybe when you're older, that's when it matters more. I'm just saying, like, when you're older, it matters more.
That's why y'all
Like,
jacked up.
I'm like that.
That's why
Come
some
on.
of these kids. That's why
Come
some of these kids I
Like,
deal
when
with jacked up
When you
because they hit these love
in mid-30s and going up, like it definitely means something.
Man, I was in love.
Like, you can't
I was
just be
in
walking
love
out here
when I was
like,
a young
hey.
pup.
I work at Foot Locker, and I'm just trying to come to you as a man.
You know what,
I
baby?
could love you.
Look, I'm
I
working.
might run this. Foot
I'm
Locker.
working at Foot Locker right now, but that's not the end of the dream. What Foot Locker to me, what Foot Locker says is that's a responsible dude who's trying to make his way through. Now, if he tells me he just I want to be the clerk at Foot Locker for 10 years, I get it. But Foot Locker means this dude he's a man. He's taking care of business. He's doing what he has to do to take care of business. It doesn't mean that's the elevator's not going to go any higher.
I feel like a comment that we got that is probably the point that I've been trying to make here is that I think social media makes it hard to date or marry potential.
Yes.
And it's sad. It's sad. Like that's really the reality out here.
Women want the finish. Oh,
I got two words. I got two
People
words.
spend a lot of time on that screen. It's
Stupid
like,
idiot. Yo, and I'm assuming somebody out there, and come on, man, you gotta know at some point, social media is the biggest BS thing in the world.
I think what's funny is like I can use the example. Look at our nephew. He like pretty much that screen is like easy.
Yeah.
That's the perfect example. Like that's really how all of us are. I was at the train station today, and it was just funny. Like I was sitting there drinking my coffee, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna put my phone in my pocket. And I just was like looking around, and it was everybody was on their phone, sitting down, walking. A lady's like talking to somebody, phone right in her hand. It's like everybody.
First of all, my grandson looks at educational stuff.
Okay, now
So
all right. So you think everybody out here looking at educational stuff?
Second of all, my grandson now we have some pretty intelligent conversations. So he's just not, No, He can read the back of my shirts. We have.
He can read the back of my
We have
shirts.
4. So
This is
so
not an
please don't
attack
put him in that
on your
category.
grandson. This is just an example that the screen time that people are putting in, you know, like, and it's from toddler age up to whatever age at this
But
point.
it goes back to, but see, this goes back to these are the things that you look at when you choose to invest in somebody. You know, if I'm like, I didn't have anything when I met your mom, but your mom knew that I was doing positive stuff. I wasn't just sitting around playing video games all day long, coming home, grabbing a beer, sticking my hand in the pants. I mean, I watched football, I did some things. I didn't get drunk during the week just to sit there and drink. She knew I was doing positive stuff. Like now, I'm doing a little at a higher rate now, but she knew that. She knew I was trying to figure some stuff out. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't just coming home, sitting there getting drunk in the shirt every night, man, looking at TV or getting drunk.
But that says a lot about mom, and I feel like her even having patience to go through that time where you were trying to figure stuff out. I don't think, again, people probably are less than likely to do that
evidence,
today.
though.
Less than likely.
People don't want to build.
Finished products. Just want finished
But
products.
there's no such thing as a finished product because we're all constantly growing.
Yeah.
So if you think you're getting a finished product, and I can tell you something, this is the other equation. This is why divorce rate is so high. Because and again, I said this about Kevin Sanders. I'm not a huge fan. A lot of stuff.
It's kind of crazy. You always had to preference that when you say it.
Because people, you know why? Because people think you're a fan of the way he did things. Because people can't separate. They can't separate that a lot of stuff he said had truth and it was fact. Just the way he said it. And there's a difference.
Delivery.
Right. There's a difference in he sensationalized stuff. But he's right. That's why divorce is so high, because I'm sitting there saying, hey, I can't marry this dude unless this dude is a lawyer getting his house together. And I just want to be a housewife. So at what point do we stop having stuff in common? At what point do we now all of a sudden the relationship is changing because this person is growing? I'm just like, because I just want security. So now this person is growing. He's starting to hang around people having different types of conversations. He's talking about people that's Fortune 500 people, and you sitting there talking about love and hip hop. I'm just saying that, you want somebody to have some kind of mental capacity to have a conversation. It's like if people are really
to be on some type of.
Yes, that's like you talking about church. They talking about club. It don't work.
Yeah.
So sooner or later, it's going to be a rift and people start to drift. And I think when you get so caught up in where somebody is right now and not try to see the big picture, and not look at the totality or the holistic view of that individual, it's tough.
I think a big part of it too is like, I don't even think people really understand like why you get married, really, like the
Let me give you an example. I was talking to a group of people, right? And somebody said, hey, I want you to come out.
Get married for all the wrong reasons.
And they said, what you want me to wear? Come as you are. You sure? Yeah. So, come as you are. I got my sneakers, got my sweatpants, got my hoodie on. Above everybody, my hoodie on. Speaking to a group of maybe two people who look like me in the room. And we're going through there, frying these questions, boom, knocking them off the box, asking questions. We talk about race. We talk about a bunch of stuff, going through it. So we get to the end. This guy's looking. I see him checking me out the whole time. He says, can I ask you a personal question? I said, yeah. He says, do you own a suit?
Do you own a suit?
I said, sir, I got 5 tailored suits hanging in my closet. I said, first of all, I don't need to wear a suit to let people know how smart I am or what my income levels, or even where I live at. I said, I was told I could come, and this is how I prefer to dress. But his whole mentality through everything I said was about, because he was so busy worried about what I had on how I look, he wasn't getting what I was saying. He didn't see a value in what I was saying. So you got to be careful with that. He missed, and then other people said the same thing, like, that's what you got out this whole thing. He was so perplexed that I didn't dress because the way he felt, if I'm coming to share with him, I could tell him, and he missed everything I said.
Yeah.
So when you start fixing your eyes on physical stuff and what you see, you do.
It's like, again, I think I keep coming back to it. I hope I use that illustration or picture, just like everybody being on their phones. And like, it's easier said than done. Like, I just think there's so much probably negativity out there that's posted. Again, the materializing relationships, people just giving bad advice.
Because somebody don't have the guts to say, put the freaking phone down. I'm serious. We have, your mom, this is our time together, no electronics. You know, and
so
sometimes you gotta say, and I said freaking, I didn't curse. If you
So,
heard me, I
no,
said freaking.
so wait.
You gotta say, sometimes you gotta have the guts to create the space and put the phone down. So you see, this is another reason you don't talk, because you don't know, because you don't talk about your
What do you
dreams.
think the
don't
true
talk about
purpose
your
of
business.
a relationship, I guess, is? The purpose of marriage and people getting together? Like, what do you think it's for?
I think it's four things. I think for me the purpose is, you know, you do get together because of love. You do. I think you also get together because you found somebody who you are like minded with. You found somebody who's traveling the same path you are to help you achieve your goals, whatever that looks like. Whether the Bible says be help me, whether that means be your cheerleader, whether that means be your collaborator, the person behind the scenes, your co-partner. I think thirdly for me, it was to have kids. It was to create, you know, to invest in the next generation of the human beings, you know, to make sure my last name got on, you know, to create a legacy kind of thing, you know, and fourthly, you know, you get married for me because I think, you know, who wants to grow? You said it yourself. I don't want to grow by myself. I don't want to achieve a lot of stuff and have nobody to share it with. You know, I say this to your mom all the time. Yo, we're not perfect, but we're perfect for each other. You know, despite the arguments or the stuff that the times we disagree or whatever, yo, that's my ride or die. I wouldn't have any other way. I don't want to be somewhere and looking around like, man, I got nobody to talk to. Nobody to share with. Let me go out and get my new suit or my new no. You know, I want somebody to share those accomplishments with. I want somebody to also have the guts to hold me accountable. I think that you don't grow without that. And I think marriage gives you all those things. And Rudy and Derek may have some other things to add to the pot, but to me, there were four essential things. You know, you get married just for security. There's no security, you know, because somebody could lose a job.
Yeah, very possible.
You know, somebody could get demoted. So there's no guarantee of security because you marry somebody with something. They could have a good job and spend money like it's going out of style.
So do you think, again, like it matters if you're older or younger and dating either? Because I think
no, because stupid is stupid. I know that sounds a little cool, but it is. I mean, there's no age limit on being naive or ignorant, and I don't mean ignorant, and I mean ignorant in the fact that not knowing. There's no age limit on that. There's no, just like, you know, I know the person didn't mean it, but you tell a guy he got a lower level job, he ain't gonna take that too well. I don't care how you try to explain what it means.
I'm glad that you heard that from somebody in conversation that was a woman, because I think that's at the root of like what we're saying. Like the point that we're trying to make is that some of these occupations that men have, right, just looked at and frowned upon.
But yeah, but you sleep and you know
lower level job.
That's sleep crazy. On people like that. You sleep on people like that.
I hear what you say. It's a lot more like that than not.
Because you look at somebody and says, man, this person is in this position right now. So this is, and I go back to high school. People decide in high school because this person is cool, this person is not cool. You know, this is who I'm going to be with. You know, because he got this, he got that. No, nobody stops and thinks, or a lot. You know, maybe different now. And nobody will sit there thinking like, well, I'm going to be in 5 years with this dude.
You want to take
dude can't spell his name now. So his high school is cool. So he can't read the menu at McDonald's, but he cool. You know, how does this translate to 5 years later when I'm trying to build a life? You know, you got to think like that. You know, just, you know, yo, he cool. He got the clothes and everything in high school, and he don't have it. His parents got it home. You know, so you know, it's like when I was getting my master's, and dudes would show up on Saturday morning and rent a car, and these women go, they're rent-a cars. Rent-a-cars. Come on, man.
They get some money behind that.
It's a rental car. Come on, it's not even
they don't see the rental. They just see like, oh, that's a nice car.
Okay.
He got a different one every day.
2 words. But then you wonder why. But then you wonder why the relationship is not working. And hopefully you pass this on to your kids, man. That it's not just finances are important, but it's not just about finances, man. It's about finding somebody who's going to be your ride or die. Finding somebody that's going to have your back. Finding somebody that's not going to quit the first time something go wrong. Finding somebody that's going to love you despite your fallacies, your inadequacies, your screw ups. Because it's not a matter of if, it's when. We're all going to screw up. We're human beings.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of.
But if you get so caught up on somebody's profession, you're not ready for that.
Yeah, and I was just kind of thinking, like, you know, historically speaking, like our great parents, our great grandparents, like, you think they were worried about that or talking about that? Like, yeah,
they probably never got married. They probably never got married. I mean, can you imagine back in the day, sharecroppers looking at the fire? Oh, this week we can never get married.
It's just. But it's just become such a thing now because, like I said, we live in this extreme
Emotions,
capitalistic
man.
society.
Emotions.
I think it's capitalistic society. Things are fast paced. Like it's just always
But
in
at
your
what point?
face, like boom, boom, boom.
And I agree with you.
You got this.
But
Yeah,
this is
you should be
different.
taking this trip.
But this
like,
is
your
also
life
the
should look
difference.
like this.
This is also the difference in my generation and your generation. We weren't that influenced by society. There were some, but now there's so many followers.
Because y'all ain't have it.
You know,
It ain't been in your face 24/7. Like,
but it was different things. It was different things that could have pulled us off track.
Like what?
It was different things.
Comic books.
I had to open a newspaper.
You got no history, man. There was MTV. That was really the first rap music thing that was huge. Before that paved the way for all the stuff you're looking at now, man.
Yeah.
You know, they had videos and concerts and things. We actually went to concerts. It wasn't like rap music just came around when you were born all of a sudden and just took off. No. I mean, as the media venues grew and the opportunities grew, but we had stuff, it's like people who wanted to play sports and they thought they were going pro. That became everything they did. But they didn't even go to school. They cut school to work on their game, not realizing that if you don't graduate school, you're not going to college. So you sometimes you get so, an example I've used, because sometimes you get so focused on the prize, man, that you miss the steps you got to take to get there. And to me, that was the sweetest part of the journey, being married to your mom, is, hey, the steps we took to get here. The apartments we lived in, the hoopty, remember the car I drove, didn't have heat?
You want quick and easy? Yeah, I remember
that.
Instantaneous.
Quick, easy, instant.
They want to be there when the results happen, not when you put in the work.
Videos 30, 60 seconds. Attention span, boom, boom, boom. Like,
they're not with you when you playing the video. You playing out the skit. They just want to see the skit.
But it's impacting every area of society. In every area of society, man, that people.
I think that's actually
of instant gratification, and I want somebody that's already there, but you're not there.
That's actually a good point too, like to make, is that idea of like, I think it does happen at every level of society.
Yes.
Even when it comes to people who work at certain jobs, they be entry level, like, but they already want to just jump to the top and be like CEOs.
Or most guys, or even stars. A lot of stars, when they become stars, they dump their wives and they marry somebody famous.
So they got to do it early.
A lot of them.
I'm joking.
They do. A lot of them, and it's wrong. But a lot of them, why? Because a lot of times in their minds, I don't know, because I've never been in a situation, the other person is not growing with them. The other person is not achieving the level that they have. So if you really love somebody, you can go on a journey with somebody. Your mom and I probably is opposite as people as I know. I don't know a couple that's more opposite than we are. I don't. And people who know it say the same thing. But that's the journey, man. That's the beauty of the journey, is being with somebody, man.
You don't believe in the idea of outgrowing each other? Because I'll be feeling like I hear a lot of people say that.
I got to add a third word to this.
What's that?
I mean, come on, man.
What? I'm just saying, like,
okay,
help me
understand.
You want to know what?
Define outgrowing.
That's what actually kind of gets used, I feel like, nowadays, too. Like,
it's a cop-out.
Even for the idea.
That's like irreconcilable.
When we talk about
what
this,
does that mean?
Occupationally, like, like, oh, we might have started here together. One person is here now. Like, for instance, like the entrepreneur of like a woman, we asked the breadwinner question before, like that idea of like, oh, this person hasn't elevated enough. Like, you outgrow that person. I think that's something that you commonly see, like, more than anything nowadays. And like, I don't think it happens. It probably happens more one way than another. I don't know.
I think it's interesting because, again, what does growing apart mean? Because, okay, most people when they get married, and I would love to hear Derek and Rudy and everybody else listen, I would love to get their opinion. When you get married, you have a lot of stuff in common. You do, especially if you get married young. You have stuff in common. Various things, whatever it is. But as you grow and you mature, you both change. You both change. You both grow and mature. And then sometimes somebody doesn't grow and mature. But if you love somebody, you find stuff in common to keep that person on the journey with you. You just don't say, well, okay, we different. Well, I'll agree. That is one thing if you married to somebody and you moving forward and they still trying to party like they're 17, 18 years old, I kind of get it. But when I have people say I'll grow somebody, what does that mean? Your mom and I, we had a lot of stuff, more stuff, different stuff in common when we met. We're going out partying, doing a lot of things, having fun. We like doing social stuff. I'm still living the days of of Yacht Joe, knew all the people going to different places and everything. Then you grow, you mature, so that changes. You know, your mom was like, I'm done with school. I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to build a business. Your mom didn't come from an entrepreneur background, so she didn't see that. You know, I wanted to get out the city, move. So those are things that we both changed. We started out with this base foundation, but as we grew, we changed. As I started to earn more money, something as simple, I changed. Something is like, you tease me about this all the time. The number of sneakers I have now.
It sounds like a great love story here.
No, but the number of sneakers I have now. You tease me all the time about this. You change and you grow. Your mom is still the same. Your mom is, she's not the payless person anymore, but she's always worried about bottom line. It got to be a sale. Me, I got no problem walking in the store now and saying, I like that. Can I have that?
So that's really different from mom.
So I'm just like, and I like sales too, but I'm just different. I don't want to, like, we book flights. She don't mind getting connected in flights. Man, I need to get where I'm going. I don't want to be changing. I don't want to fly to Texas to get to Florida.
I'm more like that.
I don't. I'm like, I want to get to where I'm going. So she's still that kind of person. She's still, we gonna get value, and I have the utmost respect for that. But I'm like, now, I'm not rich, but I can afford it.
It's actually kind of funny again, like, because just to bring it back to our topic, occupation and having things that people want to do stuff like that.
But my point is, you change though, so you
want to do stuff like that. So not everybody can do that.
So what does leaving somebody behind? That's what I mean. You say you outgrow somebody. I think that's. I don't know. You okay?
Or even before you get in a relationship, like those are things that people factor in or think about. It's like,
but you're not the same.
Oh, I want to travel. I want to do this. Like
when you were younger, you were totally dependent upon us. Not anymore.
I know that. But I'm just
saying. So I know. I'm just saying. So when people say I don't understand what that means, because it could be different for everybody. But what does that mean when you outgrow? It's like somebody says we got irreconcilable differences. I need you to be a little more specific. What is it?
I don't want to tell you what those differences are. That's what that means.
Like, I just think but see, to my point, now this goes up in mind. This is with love. When you're in love with somebody, you work at stuff. You just don't give up. You just don't walk away. If you really love somebody and you think that's the one for you, like there's no doubt in my mind, your mom is the one. I'm not just gonna walk away and give up.
I think that probably even lies or leads to an even greater question. Like, do people even understand what that means?
No, because you get married with the wrong foundation. Because you get married because I can't marry a mailman who's going to be responsible and pay the bills and treat me like the queen. No, I got to marry Joe Doctor who's going to maybe never come home and treat me like, come on, man. If you start any relationship on the foundation of materialism, it's not going to last because material things don't last.
That's a great point right there. The fact that material things don't last. But I think, I think again, that probably a great counter to what we've been trying to make the point of and saying all day, is that that's kind of the way that society is, and that's probably why divorce is so high.
Society is,
and it's easier to get divorced nowadays too. I feel like.
No fault. Which is the dumbest thing. I don't know who came with that idea. Somebody probably want to get divorced quickly, so he ain't been a no fault.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. How is it nobody's fault? Come on, man.
I mean, because
makes no sense.
Because you spend all day going back and forth, so it's just like, boom, let's get rid of this.
And I guarantee it's somebody's fault.
Yeah, but we don't want to talk about it.
I just want to get out.
I'm just thinking, and I agree with, but at some point, we got to stop saying that's the way it is in society. At some point, we got to say that, you know what, I'm going to be the change I want to see. That's not my
I mean, yeah, I'm for that.
At some point, we got to say I'm going to break the cycle. At some point, we do. We got to stop thinking in terms of this is what everybody's doing, so I'm going to do it. All my girlfriends chose so-and-so. Well, how? Where they at 5 years from now? That's what I want to see. See, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over for different results. So while your girlfriend's in broken relationships, so they complain about the quality of the relationships, why would you do the same thing? Yeah, he pays all the bills, but he pays me no attention. Because after a while, it becomes a factor. Right. After a while, he just takes me for granted. After a while, I don't care what somebody giving you.
Like, yeah, it becomes an issue, and it's just like,
or you got kids, and now all of a sudden, kids come into play. That changes.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think that is a great point to kind of wrap things up on tonight, and keep that in mind.
Hey, I scored big tonight.
You did. I was like, man.
Not that I don't keep the score.
Yeah, I feel like you came out strong. Like you was really out here trying to make that point.
No, because I started asking people the question because I was curious because when you brought it up and and I know this has been something that we've talked about, kind of danced around in so many previous conversations. And I was curious as why. Why is that a big deal? Because if you decide, and based on what somebody did, there's no substance to that relationship. So I started asking questions, and the answers kind of surprised me. It kind of surprised me. Some of them I thought was well thought out. I didn't agree with them, but at least it was well thought out. And some of them was like random stuff, man. Yeah, man, he got to be able to pay the bills. Well, both y'all can pay the bills.
People don't want to hear that. She probably like, excuse me? Both of them.
But you know how independent your mom is. You know how independent your mom is. Your mom don't need me to pay her bills.
I know that.
She likes
but it's
it.
Right.
She enjoys it.
It's a luxury and a pleasure to do so.
And I want to do so. I like making sure her hair is done, her nails are done, and taking care of that for her. I do. I like doing that so she don't have to worry about it. So if other stuff she do, I like doing stuff like that. But I think that comes from, that's when you believe in somebody and you work together, you put yourself in a position so you both reap the benefits.
Yeah. True. And I think one thing that probably was extremely beneficial for both of y'all is probably that willingness to, I guess, allow for your partner to grow, And I think you, again.
And also allow for them not to grow the way you want them to grow. That was the biggest thing, is understanding that and now I got to get my God piece in here, was understanding that God created your mom to be a certain person, a certain type of individual. He gave her certain gifts and talents that he can bring out of her. I can fan the flames like a dude, but she gets to choose whether she wants to walk in that role or not. I can't control that. What I can control is I love her. I can't control because that's my life partner. I can control that she accepts me even when I'm not perfect. Well, a lot of people would keep the score. She doesn't. So, but the other stuff, I can't. I could want her to be a bunch of stuff, but I can't make her be anything. That's between her and God. And even if God takes her through stuff to make it tough for her, she still ultimately has to decide that's what she wants to accept. So I got to accept that. I mean, yeah, it would be cool if we both were business mongols and, we chill. Yeah, it would. Moguls, it would cool, but that's not her thing. She doesn't want to be in the limelight. She wants to stay on this. I don't understand that. You know me, I want to hit the circuit, go out and speak. I was talking to someone about this yesterday.
Crazy, man.
Hey, that's what I want to do. Like when we had our fun.
I like to be behind the scenes.
I never problem walking around talking to people. You might walk around talking to nobody. If I had to go grab her and introduce her to somebody, that's the most uncomfortable thing for her. For me,
that does sound painful.
And your mom,
I get that from her.
I'm like,
I love your mom says all the time, man. I talk to a tree.
Like, up and down. We know that.
Yeah, and that tree will be supporting my nonprofit.
Somehow your name's carved in.
So how fast do those leaves fall to the ground?
Right.
I can catch it before it hit the ground.
Oh my gosh. Let's stop.
When Muhammad Ali.
He's
so fast. I hit the light switch. I'm in the bed for the lights go out.
Another great episode.
Again, thank you all for listening to Above Average Black Men. Great episode here. I feel like we had a great dialogue. I mean, key takeaway. I think relationships definitely need to be built upon more than just kind of the finances of it all, and allow for your partner to grow. Like, I feel like having that vision and patience and grace and all those things matter here.
We're going to do a show. My show will be the 10 questions you need to ask while you're dating
somebody. 10 questions?
Yeah, that's going to be a show. We're going to do a show on that.
That should be a good one, because I feel like a lot of people don't know what to ask. To the point that I made, like, even finance-wise, people don't talk about that before they get married, and that's why sometimes it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, anyway, another great show on Above Average Black Men. You can catch us on iHeartRadio. You can catch us on Spotify. You can catch us on Podbean, YouTube Live. You can catch us on Instagram and on Facebook.
Like, follow, subscribe, share. As he said, all those platforms. You got plenty of options.
And we're always looking for guests. We're always looking for good guests. You'd be surprised some people want to be on the show, man. But yeah, one dude, you want to go talk about his divorce? No.
Why not? That might be a great episode.
Education. Dude, you are better. 5 minutes in the show, you'll be cursing your wife out or crying.
Like I said, it's a great content
over everything.
Now we're doing shock radio, right? Yeah. So cry. Anyway, we show love, appreciate you guys. See you guys next week, man. Yo, Rudy, we got to catch up. Been too long, man. Appreciate you there. All right. Talk to you guys later, man. Peace.
looked like somebody at one point like they were smashing that bike.